What does it take to create a large, professional-looking aquascape? Well, it's a bit of this, a bit of that, and let's be honest, a fair bit of this. But don't worry. There are a few tips and tricks that can take your aquascape build to the next level while still being cost-effective. Today, I want to show you how world-class aquascaper Takayuki Fukada plans and executes large-scale hardscapes. And if you've only ever kept smaller tanks and are thinking about joining the 250-liter plus club, this video is for you. So let's get into it. The first tool a professional aquascaper reaches for isn't stone. It's not plants, it's tape. Trying to design a heavy hardscape inside a glass box is asking for an expensive mistake. Instead, tape out the exact footprint of your aquarium somewhere you can safely move heavy rock and wood. It's like a crime scene, except the victim is usually your back. This gives you clear boundaries, a proper working space, and the freedom to take your time without committing too early. When you head to your local aquarium store, use those dimensions to choose appropriately sized stone and wood. And if you're lucky enough to have a store that offers a dedicated scaping area, you can test layouts, rethink everything, and change your mind as many times as you need before buying a single piece. One of the biggest challenges with large aquariums is making them feel full. Driftwood that looks dramatic in a small tank can suddenly look like a bunch of twigs once everything scales up. The obvious solution is bigger wood and bigger rock, but the problem is those pieces cost more and often in a way that feels personal. If you can't afford one massive feature piece, use multiple smaller pieces and join them together so they read as a single form. Keeping your wood aligned at the same angle helps sell the illusion. The eye assumes continuity when direction stays consistent, and any joins you're not happy with can be hidden with plants, moss, shadow, or time. Most aquascapes rely more on suggestion than honesty, and that's perfectly fine. In smaller tanks, height does most of the work. You stack upward, and everyone agrees that something impressive has happened. In larger tanks, height on its own just looks unfinished. What you actually need is depth. A foreground, a midground, and a background create the illusion that the aquarium is larger than it really is, something humans have been trying to achieve for centuries. Dividing the tank from front to back into thirds and placing hardscape elements in each zone gives the layout weight and continuity, rather than one lonely piece of driftwood dropped in the middle hoping for the best. Professional aquascapes also place their main structure off-center, usually about a third in from one side. This gives the eye somewhere to start and space to move through, instead of landing in the middle and stopping. Nature rarely organizes itself symmetrically. Symmetry usually means human involvement, and we're trying to pretend we were never here. Once you've rotated the same piece of wood or rock 100 times, and you're finally happy with the layout, the next challenge is moving it into the tank. Photos help, but professionals go one step further and lock everything in with tape. By placing tape across joints where materials meet and drawing a line across both pieces, the layout can be reassembled at the exact same angle inside the tank. Numbering the pieces also helps keep everything in order, whether you're working left to right or right to left. It turns guesswork into precision. The difference between a professional aquascaper and an amateur often comes down to depth. Not emotional depth, but substrate depth. Viewed from the side, most professional tanks slope upward from front to back. Thin at the front, thicker at the rear. This exaggerates depth and makes the aquarium feel much larger than it really is. Aquasoil isn't cheap, so instead of filling the entire back with premium substrate, many aquascapers bulk it out with mesh bags filled with gravel, old substrate, or lightweight media like leca. The expensive soil goes on top where it can be seen, not underneath where it can't. In small tanks, rocks can lean on each other optimistically. In large tanks, gravity notices. Every piece of hardscape should be wobble tested before water ever touches the aquarium. If it moves while the tank is dry, it will absolutely move when it's wet. Larger structures should be properly braced and secured with epoxy where needed. Hardscape collapses always happen at night, right after you've planted everything and finally feel happy. To stop substrate sliding through gaps in wood, stone, or glass, many people recommend expanding foam. It works, but if you're on a budget, black sponge is a great alternative. It disappears into the substrate, does the job quietly, and no one will ever know what's holding everything together, which is generally the goal. Large aquascapes don't come together by randomly chucking sticks and stones into a tank. They're built through dozens of small decisions, made slowly, and often corrected before anyone else ever sees them. If this helped clarify how to approach a large-scale build properly, consider subscribing. We'll be covering more ways to make your aquarium look like it happened naturally, despite the considerable evidence to the contrary.